Hello there. You're welcome once again to Computer Science class by Mr. Dennis. I want to encourage you all and also thank you for what you've been doing as the class has been progressing on this way. So our topic this morning is algorithm and flowchart under basic programming. Algorithm and flowchart under basic programming. So we'll be basing our class with algorithm and flowchart. So the class objectives, we have definition of algorithm, definition of flowchart, writing different algorithms, and designing various flowcharts. Now, let us start with what's the meaning of an algorithm. An algorithm is a step-by-step process or procedures in solving a particular task or problem. Any task you want to solve, you follow the algorithm. Using a typical example, if you are preparing a meal, you follow an algorithm. Now we have some examples. You are trying to add two numbers using an algorithm, step-by-step process. Remember in programming, when you're in SS1, you're taught IOS, input and output system. Whereby in programming, you must have the input, the output, and the processing. So it starts from the input, start from the processing, and start from the output. Now in the example you have here, the first thing is start. You must start the program. You must start the algorithm. Next is your input phase. It's two numbers you're adding. So you have input A, next line, input B. Those are the variables that you're adding. Next is the sum. Sum, which is the processing. Sum is equals to A plus B. Next is the print sum, and you stop. It's as simple as that. Next, another example, we have area to find the square of using an algorithm. Now, in doing that, likewise though we did the previous one, you start the program, input L, because you're in a square, you just have one side, which is length, and the area, the formula is L raised to power 4, which you have there, which is under processing. Then you print the area and you stop, which is termination, input, processing, output, and you stop. All this can also be translated into a flowchart, which now takes us to what a flowchart is. But before then, don't forget the meaning of a pseudocode. Just a pseudocode is just like English language. Alright, let's go now. What's a flowchart? A flowchart is a diagrammatical representation of an algorithm. So when an algorithm is represented diagrammatically, it's a flowchart. I come again. When an algorithm is represented diagrammatically, it is a flowchart. And for a flowchart, you have different symbols. You have the over sign, which is the first one you are seeing there. It means your start or your end level. Next is your direction on how you direct your diagram or the flow of the program. Next, you have the parallelogram that talks about your input and output, where you put in those variables. Next, you have your rectangle, which is your processing, where you perform the action. And next is your decision, where you perform if, else, then, loop, all those loop illustrations. Alright, now let's use an example. Now, this one is a flowchart to subtract two numbers. Recall the last one in the algorithm we were doing to add two numbers. But for this one, it is to subtract two numbers. And how is it done? Your oversign, which is your start. You start as normal. Next, you input your number 1 and you input your number 2, which is your input symbol. Use your input symbol in performing this action. You use the input symbol in performing this action, and then you process what you've inputted. And what are you processing? You are processing the answer, which is your number 1 minus your number 2. which is under processing, which is a rectangle. After doing that, next is for you to print your answer using the output symbol. And when you've successfully done all that, and then you end the flow diagram. It's as simple as that. Look at it. You have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flow diagrams to perform this action. It can be more, it can be less, depending on the kind of flowchart you are designing. I come again, it can be more, it can be less. Next example is we're going to be finding the area of a cycle. The area of a cycle. The area of a cycle. Likewise, you have your start, as we did the last time. Area of a cycle is pi arrow square. Don't forget, area of a cycle is pi arrow square. So you have input radius. Because it's only arrow that is the variable there. You input radius, which is your input symbol. Input radius, and the area is pi arrow square. You can see area now is now equal to pi. Pi has 3.14 times radius because it's pi arrow square. That is your processing symbol. And when you've done that, you display your area, which is also your output. Can you see it is very, very easy? It's very, very easy. No matter how they set the question for you, you'll be able to process it, you'll be able to answer it with ease, without stress. During our classes, we'll be doing more and more examples. In our classes, we'll also make use of anyway. See you and have a lovely day. Bye bye.